Hi, welcome to the Speak Boutique. I'm Tali Kellerstein, pediatric speech-language pathologist, helping children 3 years and older to make great sounds. Today I will give you 5 tips on how to help children make their f or f sound. In a previous video we talked about the h sound, the h sound, and that sound is all about air. The f sound is also all about air, so a lot of those strategies will apply here too. The only thing is that F ups the ante a little bit because we now need to drive the air through the lips and the teeth, specifically the lower lip and the top teeth. So let's dive right in. The first tip for helping our F sound is actually one that doesn't require the child to speak. Before I start working on the actual mechanics of the speech, I want to get a sense of whether a child is perceiving the difference between the F and whatever error that they're making. Minimal pairs are words that are exactly the same with the exception of one sound in them. So for a child who's replacing an F with a P or a F sound with a P sound, I would use words like pin and fin, pour and for, pan and fan, paint and faint, pit and fit. And I ask the child to listen and let me know what sound they're hearing. I'm not going to ask them to say that's a F because they can't say it. So I ask them to point, and I've made a sorting mat here on Lesson Picks. I'll make these materials shareable in the Sharing Center in Lesson Picks if you're on that site. But if not, you really don't need anything fancy. If you have a marker, a highlighter, and a paper, you could, for example, tell the child we're going to make the sound that comes at the start of fin and the sound that comes at the start of pin, and see which one you hear, which one matches. And I hide the pictures and ask the child to point. For your children who are a little bit more savvy, you want to cover your mouth so that you know that they're not watching your mouth for the clues and they're actually really perceiving the difference between the two sounds. If a child is struggling with the perception of the sound, that's really where we start working for a little bit to help them perceive the difference between a f and a p. Tip number 2 is use a mirror. The beautiful thing about the f sound is that it has really visible landmarks. We have the lips and teeth that are really, really visible, and so I'd use a mirror to have children watch to see if they can see their top teeth and their bottom lip move for the sound. The important thing to know for the sound is that the movement happens with the bottom lip. So we want to try emphasize as much as possible for them to use their bottom lip. So sometimes we will use images like a rabbit to tell children to use bunny teeth, which is fine because they're getting that awareness of their teeth. But keep in mind that you want to, as quickly as possible, let the child know that you actually want the movement to happen in their lip and not their teeth doing the movement. Tip number 3 is tactile cues. So I'm trained in a system called Prompt, which has a variety of tactile cues to help children with their movement of speech. It was a very intensive training program, and the prompts and cues in that system are beyond the scope of this video. So I'm going to give you a easy to do tactile cue or sensory cue that you could use with children, and it's a lollipop. So bonus is usually very, very motivating. What I have kids do first is lick the lollipop, and I tell them they are activating that lollipop. So they need to activate the lollipop, and then what we do is paint the bottom lip with the wet lollipop, and their job is to scrape off the sweets. So they go, obviously we're not scraping when we're saying a f sound, but it helps get that movement and that contact and get them to get the introductory sense of what it might feel like to have the teeth on the lips and put them in the right place. It also helps get kids to use the correct lips, because sometimes we'll tell them you have to put your lip to your teeth and they'll take the bottom teeth to the top lip. Not what we want. Tip number 4 is the word off. Off is a great word to start working on the f sound. Typically we're told that the easiest place to make a new sound is at the beginning of the word, and that's true for many words and for many children, but not all the time. I find off a nice easy place to start because children can move their bottom jaw up to get to their F sound, and it gives me some time to show them where to move their mouth. On the flip side, we have tip number 5. For children for whom it is easier to start with the F at the beginning of the words, I like to start with words that go from an F to an E E is a high vowel where we don't have to move our mouths very low. E versus ah. So when we're doing a word like feet or feel, the mouth doesn't have to move very far to get to the vowel. And so I find it's a nice, easy word to get started on that sound. That's my soundbite for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and see you next time.